Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nara and here we're discussing astrology and spirituality. So this particular video is about Aries, Sun or Rising, or Mars in the first house, or if you're interested in learning more about the zodiac sign of Aries, then welcome to this video. Okay, so before we get into the Aries, I want to talk about the ruler planet that it represents. So Aries is ruled by Mars. We all know that, right? However, the qualities that Aries has, the characteristics, the personality traits are actually embodied from Mars planet. So Aries energy is considered very aggressive because Mars is aggressive planet. It's a planet of action. It's a planet of not sitting or waiting for anything to happen to you, but actually going and taking action and taking what's yours. And this is why we know Aries to be the bluntest sign of all, and the most active, the most aggressive, the most straightforward, and the most authentic, right? So Mars energy is here for us to manifest, right? Because if we want something in our lives, but if we don't take any actions or steps in order to achieve what we want, then it's not going to happen. So Mars can be considered as a manifester on a physical plane. And Aries embodies those energies from Mars, which is aggression, not compromising with others, taking the task head on, going and taking action, sometimes without even thinking. We'll get into this in a little bit. Taking action without putting much thought into it, and so that's the Martian energy. The entire astrology, the entire zodiac starts with Aries, right? So this is the very first sign. And the zodiac sign of Aries belongs to the first house, which is the rising sign, or the house of self, right? How we approach life, how we see ourselves, what we think of ourselves, and how other people perceive us, and also the approaches, the tendencies that we have, like the patterns and stuff like that we have in our lives. So that's all the first house, right? So Aries energy is very straightforward, like I said, and Aries belongs to the first house. And then if you look at the opposite of Aries, we will find a seventh house, and you'll see that there's Libra, right? And Libra naturally belongs to the seventh house of partnerships and marriage, because Libra is here to form connections and relationships, right? But these two are very, very different from one another. That's why they're in opposition, right? So for instance, Libra is going, when Libra wants something, she's not going to take it without asking you. She's going to inform you. She's going to be very diplomatic in the way she asks. But when it's Aries, Aries won't ask. It just like goes, takes it, and leaves, without anybody's permission. So that's the Martian energy, which is embodied by Aries. Another thing, there's also that desire to break out from control, restrictions, the societal norms and regulations, the law, the codes of society and stuff like that. So there's that desire not to follow others, but instead to follow my own path, right? So that's the Aries energy. Aries is here to find his own or her own way to life, and also not listen to other people. So these people tend to be very self-reliant and very independent early in life, early in childhood. That's when the Mars is already pushing them to become blunt, authentic, confident. Actually, sometimes overconfidence. It can cause not necessarily reckoning with other people's opinions, but rather only believing in what they want. So that's Aries energy. I love Aries personally. This energy is very, very needed for a proper success in life, because if you don't have aggression to a degree, then you won't be able to demand what you want. And if you're not able to demand what you want, then you're not going to get it. These people, sometimes they think that everything is like, they make survival out of everything. Sometimes they think that, oh, if I'm not being blunt or aggressive, then I won't be able to survive. So that tendency of Mars, which is aggression, anger, strife, being number one, not following the rules, can be taken too far as well. So be aware of that, because they hate restrictions or rules that other people impose on them. But sometimes their perception of those rules might be misconstrued or skewed, and that's why their behavior is not in alignment with what's actually going on. So they are more prone to subjectivity rather than objectivity. Okay, so I do want to talk about the ancient story about Aries and how Aries was born, which is actually, we do have like two aspects to the story. So there was a god, Aries, right? And how Aries was born, Aries was born from Hera, and it was born from anger and aggression, because Hera gave birth without her husband. So basically Aries exploded from her head, and when he was born, he was already like a big boy. Like, he wasn't a small child, he was already like a human. So that story, basically, Hera, his mother, gave birth to Aries out of strife and anger. What a combination, right? So that's why Aries is known for anger. That's why Aries is known for, strife and competitiveness and stuff like that, because that's how he was born. And the god Aries was not respected at all, because he was very impulsive. He always had the company of strife, aggression, and fright wherever he went. And he always wanted to fight everybody, whoever he saw, especially if they tried to restrict him in any way. Actually went and broke laws, and that's how everybody started to hate Aries. And then also Aries tried to seduce Libra, right? And Libra, according to the mythical stories, was the Venus Aphrodite. And he tried to seduce Aphrodite, but then her husband entrapped him. So he got a bad reputation for that. So Aries is very blunt. See, he wanted an Aphrodite, he just went and did whatever the heck needed to be done in order to get her attention, without even thinking about her husband and what he's gonna say and how he's going to react. So that's the Aries energy: assertive, I want it, I got it, I'm not gonna ask anybody, and sometimes it's taken too far, right? However, there is a second aspect of the story where the god Mars was actually very respected, which was also connected to Aries, was very honorable and respected, just like a Jupiter god in ancient Greek. And so what happened was that Aries, because of all that impulsivity and the actions that came from that impulsivity and aggression, which brought his reputation to go down, he had to learn how to manage his anger issues by developing embodying the Mars god energy of honor and respect and stuff like that. Why did god Mars had honor and respect? Because he had a healthy aggression, which actually can take you to great lengths in life, because you gotta know what you want in life, and you gotta be stubborn about what you want, and you should know your standards, and you should never be lowering your standards, and that's Aries. However, do not take it too far to a point where you start to fight with other people over your interests or over your whatever you want to achieve, the goals, but rather express healthy aggression when somebody tries to impose restrictions on you. And the more you embody the healthy aggression, the better your life is going to be and the more successful you're going to become. Talk about the first house. So the first house actually belongs to Aries, and if you happen to have the first house, Aries or Mars in the first, then your rising, your Aries rising, if you have Aries in the first, not Mars in the first. But if you have both, then even if you have Mars in water signs, you'll still have a very strong presence. You might not be impulsive unless it's in fire sign. You might not be as impulsive as it would be like when it's in fire sign. However, you might still have a very, very strong presence whenever you enter the room. But like going back to the Aries rising people, so starting with appearance, these people are very sporty and very, they're fit. And they have like usually like long neck, and they have like very wide forehead. So that aspect of Aries. Then also like the way they present themselves is very like self-expressive and self-aggressive expression of the self. Very straightforward and very blunt in the way they approach other people. Sometimes they may come off as very rude because, they're like, when you enter, like as a Libra, for instance, I'm a Libra rising. As a Libra, I enter a room and I scan the environment and only then act. For Aries is the complete opposite. They enter the room, they don't even care who is in there. So whatever they tried to do there prior to coming into the room, they're gonna do it regardless of who is in the room. They're gonna go after what they want. And that's the beauty of Aries energy. However, again, if it's not regulated, then it can give you a very bad reputation with a bad style. If you are an Aries whose confidence and healthy aggression was suppressed when you were a kid and you weren't able to express yourself because you had controlling parents or narcissistic parents who wanted you to live the way they wanted you to live instead of allowing you to choose your own path to career, self-expression, the way you dress up or whatever, then you might have suppressed your Aries and became insecure instead, and actually became a people pleaser. You Aries rising people, if their self-expression, the energy from Mars was suppressed by their parents early in childhood, they tend to turn into the opposite sign of theirs, which is Libra, a people pleaser. So it's something to be aware of. If you notice that you're not very assertive, you're not a go-getter, you're not confident, you're not, blunt or courageous, then you might have embodied the characteristics of the opposite sign of your rising. That tends to happen with people a lot, but it's not being talked about though. So that's that. Another thing for the Aries rising, it's very, very important for you guys to try to do some sport activities. You will be inclined to do sport activities, either Aries rising or Mars in the first, because you have so much energy, right? It's the action planet, Mars, and you don't know what to do sometimes with it. And sometimes you out of nowhere might start a fight with somebody, or showing that aggression and making other people angry and getting into like bad aggressive dynamics with people. So instead of doing that, it's recommended for Aries people to go to karate, go to the gym, take it out on the sport, take it out that aggressive energy somewhere which is related to your body, like exercise, certain like dances, like karate, like gym, weightlifting, yoga, whatever, so it's very important for you guys to have some type of routine that involves those activities, because you do need to take this energy out. If you don't do it, then you might just start a trouble or a problem with somebody out of nowhere just because you're bored. So yeah, something to be aware of. But besides that, Mars and Furs, these people are very active. They don't like to stay in one place. They just like to change, and they're very, very confident in the way they express themselves. But these people might not have a lot of friends because they are too blunt, and some people don't like the truth. But Aries is the most blunt, authentic, truthful sign you can ever find. Unless it's badly aspected. If it's badly aspected, then, you know, they might not be very assertive or truthful to you. However, if it's, you know, goodly, like aspected well, if you do not have difficulties with the aspects, it's much, much easier. I think I've covered pretty much everything for this video. I hope you like this video, and please let me know in the comment section below if that resonated. If it didn't resonate and you're an Aries and you would like to share your experience, I would love to see that. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.